All right, y'all, so welcome back. This is our second video of the series. This one's gonna be more about reviving your SOI. So if you've been in the business for a while, you've got a lot of people. We've already gone through the first video, we've kind of compiled them. But now we're gonna have to do the hard part. We're gonna have to actually talk to these people and get them re-engaged with our business. Because if we don't, we're gonna have to start from here going forward. And we've got so many good people that we know and past clients that honestly, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off and let's just start from scratch. So what I want to talk about today is how to revive it. And it's going to take some vulnerability. It's going to take a little bit of guts, but at the end of the day, it's going to pay off very, very well. So let's start with the easiest group first, your raving fans. Remember, these are your ride to dies. These are the people that will send you business if they had the business to send you. But here's what they don't know. I bet you haven't done a very good job of explaining to them how you receive business, how they can send you business. And honestly, I don't think you've done a good job explaining what you do for a living. Yes, they know you're probably a real estate agent. Yes, they probably know it has something to do with houses, but do they know if you could sell investment properties, commercial properties? Can you work with buyers? Can you work with sellers? Can you help somebody in California if you live in South Carolina? They probably don't know this, and we're assuming they do. So now that we've got our list compiled and we're starting over from scratch, my goal for you is to have an intentional conversation. Now again, these people are probably at your kids' birthdays, you see them every other week, but I would like for you to have a sit-down meeting with them. You already know them, so go get a beer, get a glass of wine, who cares? But you need to do this, and here's the reason why. Several years ago, I had one of my agents, she called me and said, hey, I want you on a listing appointment with me. They're friends of mine, it's right down the street, and they're gonna be selling their house and they want me to do it. But here's the catch, they've already bought a house through a different realtor down the road for twice as much. You know, I'm thinking, what the hell? That is not cool. That is not something that, you know, that we want our people to do. But somehow we failed. But anyways, we get there, they come out the front door. It's like, oh, so good to see you. You're our best friend ever. And I just thought they're really fake. Fast forward, about 2 weeks later, my agent calls me and goes, Brad, you'll never guess what just happened. I was like, what's that? I go, they just called me and said they didn't realize that I could help them buy a house too. They thought I could only sell houses. These were educated people. Like, these were high income earners, and we assumed they knew. And I don't think they were just like making this excuse up. So it dawned on me that we need to have a sit down conversation with everybody that's important in our lives. So that way we have a basis for understanding. Use the story, like make it your own. I mean, you'll be lying to your people, but that's okay. Tell this story so you have a reason to sit down with them and be like, hey, I want to sit down with you and talk about business because somebody in my office just had this happen to them and I haven't done a good job of explaining this. So the way it goes really is you take them to coffee, beer, wine, whatever it is, and first start with the Ford model. If you know what that is, it's the family, occupations, recreations, and dreams. It is a good cadence to have a long conversation. About 20% of your conversation, any conversation, to make it not sound salesy, needs to be chit chat. It just needs to be back and forth, how's life, those kinds of things. You don't want to just lead in with a sales pitch because people are on guard for that. So go through the whole thing. How's your family? How's work going? You know, are you still playing pickleball a lot? And hey, you're still thinking about retiring to Hawaii in 10 years, whatever it might be. But it's going to be a back and forth conversation. And then when you're done, when you're kind of done with the chit chat, then you need to lead into your next part. And it's like, hey, Steve, I'm really appreciative that you sat down with me. I know we're good buddies. I'm going to try and keep this not salesy as possible, but I just want to kind of level set with you because this just happened to somebody in my office and it really kind of got me concerned that I haven't done a good job of explaining to you, one of my good friends, how my business works. And the majority of my business works off of referrals. It's people like you that recommend good people to work with me. You know I'm going to take good care of them. But here's the catch. I can do just about anything. I want to be your real estate dumpster. So anything that comes to you real estate related, I want you to call me and I will either handle it or I will get it to somebody to handle. And here's the thing, if you have the opportunity to send me business, which I hope you do, I would like for you to put us in a group text. That way you can do the introduction, we're now there together, and I can respond. If this person, whoever you connect me with, ghosts me for 3 times, I'm gonna quit reaching out to them. So don't feel like I'm just gonna be bombarding them with content or conversations. I'm gonna ask them to chit chat, we're gonna get to meet, and after that, I'm gonna leave them alone. But here's the thing. This is the most valuable part because if you just give them my number, they'll probably never call. And if you call me and say, hey, I gave somebody your number, I don't know who it is. So if you can do this, I have a really good success rate of getting this person to meet with me and then letting me help them. And as you know, we're really good buddies, so I would love for this to happen so I can work with people I really, really like. And then you leave it at that and then you move on. And you can make a joke about it. Like, all right, sales pitch is over, let's go get another beer. But if you don't do this, you don't tell people how important they are to you, what they can do for your business and how to connect them, then you're really failing, and people probably have the ability to send you business. They just don't know how, so they don't do it. So now that we have the raving fans out of the way, and these conversations may take a couple of weeks to get done. And that's one thing I want to stress to you too, is you need to start time blocking to have these conversations scheduled out. So that way you're not trying to do 10 in one day, but yet you're getting them out of the way and you're moving at a pretty brisk pace. Next category I want to talk about is your core, right? These are going to be more business conversations. So as you went through your database and you identified everybody that could be a core member, somebody that had the ability to send you a referral a month, you need to have a little bit different conversation. But it's an easier conversation because it's business. So let's say I want to go meet with my buddy that's a divorce attorney. Yeah, we go to football games together. Yes, we know each other. We've known each other for a very long time. But I want to say, hey, Sean, I want to go get coffee with you or lunch with you. I want to talk about a business opportunity. He's going to be open to it. First, obviously, chit chat, 20%. Don't forget that Ford model. We already went through that one. The next part is like, hey, how's your business going? I see a lot of people in my business. Is there a way that I can support your business? Divorce attorneys, maybe I have some opportunities to send them people for his services, but oftentimes it could be something like a hairdresser or a barber. You have tons of people you could send their way. And you go, hey, I got an idea. If I could send you a referral a month, do you think you could send me a referral a month? And we kind of make this like a networking thing. Again, you just got to ask the question. And if you don't ask the question, people don't think about it, and they don't think about sending you business, even though they have the ability to do it all the time. So when it comes to the core, you have that model. And of course, you're going to get some excuses like, I don't know if I know enough people that are going to move once a month. Here's what I would say to them, is like, totally understand. But I bet if we start this thing up and we check in with each other once a month, go get a beer and just kind of check in our referrals, I bet you have more opportunities than you pay attention to. And maybe going forward, you'll be a little bit more, ears open to the opportunities. And I bet you can do it. And then you have this once a month accountability meeting with your buddy, go get a beer, talk about the referrals you sent them, and you get the ability to call them out. Because I was like, hey, Sean, I sent you 10 people last month. Where's mine? He's going to, one, feel guilty, which is okay with me, but also he's going to be working really hard the next couple of weeks to keep his ears open to see if there's a potential that he could send your way. These core conversations are going to be business settings. They're going to be super easy. And at the same time, you've already kind of know them, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, let's flip gears into our sphere of influence past client category. This one's a little harder. Here's my recommendation. Start with an event. I know I sound like a broken record, but start with an event. If your company doesn't do quarterly events like the Art of Real Estate does for us, then I would recommend that you start doing one, once a quarter, maybe once every 6 months. And it doesn't have to be super expensive. It doesn't have to be some big production. What it can be as simple as a happy hour. It could be a meetup at the zoo with kids. It could be whatever, but give a reason to meet up with somebody. So now what I would do with my sphere and past clients is I'd shoot them a text. Now, this is not the only communication. I'm starting with this. Everything needs to be a phone call so you can get the inflection. You can hear their cadence, right? Because there's a lot to be learned by how somebody answers your request. If it's a text, there's no way to know how they're really feeling about it. So I'd shoot them a text and be like, hey, Steve, you got 5 minutes. I got 2 questions I need to ask you, and I want to ask you on the phone. 99% of the time, they're going to be open to it because they know who you are. And when they pick up the phone, let's say they're a past client, I most likely have abandoned them over the last several years of my business. We are not good at staying in touch with past clients, hence the reason we're probably watching these videos, so we can have a database to do these things for us. Now, these past clients that we've abandoned, we're gonna have to eat crow. We're gonna have to apologize, but it's a super simple apology. Hey Steve, I realize in the last couple of years, I haven't stayed in touch with you as much as I promised you I would when you were buying your house. Now, I'm not calling you to get you to buy or sell anything. What I'm doing is I want to apologize that I've done that, and I want to start the conversation again to let you know that going forward, I will be here if you need something. And don't forget, I'm your real estate dumpster. Anything you need with real estate, even if it's not even sales, if you need a CMA so you can go fight the property tax assessor when your tax bill comes out, let me know. Maybe you want to know the value of your house, or if you want to look for an investment or whatever it might be, I want to be that guy for you, but I want to earn it. And also, I'm throwing a client event in the next couple of weeks. I would love for you to be my guest. Are you okay if I send you an invite and you just let me know if you can make it? So I've given them information, I've asked for an apology, and now I've invited them to an event. Now, if you're really good at staying in touch with your past clients, no big deal. That's fantastic, and kudos to you for sure. What you need to do is still invite them to this event. You need to get them on the phone. Don't just text, guys. And for God's sake, stay out of email. Email is not good for keeping connections. That's not cool. Phone, text, if at all possible. Now, let's say that it's just your sphere of influence people, just people that are in this category because they're a catch-all. Remember, they would send you business so they remembered you were in it. Same thing, text, hey, got a quick second, I want to talk to you about an event coming up. Invite them to this event, ask them to come to it. Here's the thing, you don't know if they're going to be able to come to it or not, but at least you're starting the conversation. So when you reach out to them per your follow-up plan in a couple weeks or a month, now it's not so awkward because you've already ripped that Band-Aid off, and going forward, it's a level set and you're into making that connection go deeper and deeper. And the last thing I want to harp on is when you have these conversations, these text messages, if you have a good CRM that you like to use like Follow-Up Boss so you can text through it and keep all your conversations in one spot, that's what you need to do. Because here's my rule. If it's not in your CRM, it didn't happen. Every time you have a conversation, a text, an email, it needs to be documented in your CRM. And the reason is you can't keep up with this many people going forward. Maybe you're new in the business and you've only got 10 people in your database, no problem with that. But when you have 1,000, you're not gonna remember whose kids, what name, all this other stuff. It needs to be in the database. So if you're serious about getting your database and your sphere of influence going back to where we want it to go, you need to take the extra steps of making sure you're documenting everything so you sound like you actually know what's going on with these people's lives. So hopefully this gave you a good overview. This step 2 of this series is really all about how to revive your database. It's not gonna be easy. It's not going to go quickly, but it is a way to get going again because there's definitely business to be had if you follow these steps. In video 3 coming up next, we're going to be talking about what to do when we get new people and how to add people to our database that doesn't feel awkward or salesy.